A massive fraud network crushed Minnesota. It's a total failure of trust. Let's break it down.
laakiin waxyaabihii aan u ololeynay oo u taageernay gudoomiyaha waxa kamid ahaa gobolka Minnesota 30 sano ku dhawaad baan deganahay hal qof oo Afrikaan ah oo gudoomiye gobolku xil sare u magacaabay ma jirin soonkaasna aynu joognay
waan gartay
laba marna in la magacaabo kaliye waxa rabnaa waxtarka gobolka maadaama oo wax soo gelitaankiisa aanu qayb ka nahay nacfigiisuna waa inuu gobolka dadka Soomaaliyeed soo gaaro waxaa jirta in jirin hay'adaha Soomaaliyeed ama bulshada Soomaaliyeed wasaaradaha gobolka mid kamid ah oo xataa $100,000 taariikhda ka soo gashay gudoomiyaha Tim Walz ka hor
si wanaagsan
inaysan jirin laakiin markii ugu horeysay waxa suurta gashay in si toos ah loo taageero baahida dadka Soomaaliyeed ee gobolka.
The evidence isn't just a theory anymore, it's a cold, hard record. We've seen the footage, and it brings a chilling clarity to what's actually happening in the North Star state. Hamse Warfa, a major player in the Somali community and a former high-ranking official, was caught on video laying out a dirty deal that should make every American taxpayer's blood boil. In this recording, Warfa doesn't even try to hide the arrangement. He flat-out credits Tim Walz's administration for a massive flood of state resources. Before Walz moved in, these specific community groups were getting peanuts, less than $100,000. But under this leadership, that number didn't just grow, it exploded. Warfa describes a shift from symbolic gestures to what he calls real power. This isn't about being inclusive. It's about the targeted distribution of your money to build a permanent political machine, a machine that's been running with zero accountability for years, while you foot the bill.
So, where exactly did all that real power lead? It led to the biggest collapse of government oversight we've seen in a generation. The Feeding Our Future scandal is a monument to how much these people just don't care. We are talking about nearly $1 billion in federal funds, money meant to feed hungry kids during the pandemic that was siphoned away. This wasn't some victimless crime. The DOJ found a tangled web of shell companies and fake nonprofits claiming to feed thousands of children who didn't even exist. While the Walz administration tried to claim their hands were tied by the courts, the reality was much darker. Internal documents show the red flags were waving for months, yet they kept signing the checks anyway. Where'd the money go? Luxury real estate, high-end cars, and international travel. It was a brazen looting of the American treasury, all facilitated by an administration that chose identity politics over its basic duty to protect the public purse from being robbed. To really get how this happened, you have to look at who was sitting at the table. Governor Walz didn't just sign the checks, he wove these networks into the very fabric of the state. By putting figures like Hamse Warfa into key positions, the administration created a revolving door between radical NGOs and executive power. It basically created a shield of political immunity. When honest civil servants tried to raise the alarm about where this money was going, they were met with silence, or, even worse, accused of bias. The result? A total culture of institutional paralysis. The state was effectively paying for its own transformation, importing a voting bloc and then subsidizing its leaders with taxpayer-funded grants. This is the textbook definition of patronage politics. It's a system where loyalty is bought with the hard-earned money of the American middle class, and the real power Warfa bragged about is used to dismantle the standards that keep a society honest. Don't think for a second that this is just a Minnesota problem. This is a warning shot for the entire country. President Trump and conservative leaders are pointing at this mess as a preview of what's coming if we don't wake up. If an administration can let $1 billion vanish into a network of fraudulent groups, do you really think any of your programs are safe? The stakes for immigration policy are just as high. When communities are brought in and immediately hooked up to these government-funded patronage networks, any incentive to integrate just vanishes. Instead, it creates a fragmented society where groups are forced to compete for a piece of the taxpayer pie. Recent reports suggest this model is already being exported to other blue states. It's a strategy for permanent demographic and political shifts, and it's all funded by the very people whose influence is being systematically erased. The question isn't if the system is broken. We know it is. The question is, who has the guts to fix it? As the federal trials move forward and the defendants start facing the music, the ultimate responsibility still sits at the top. Real accountability isn't just about the people who faked the invoices. It's about the leadership that opened the doors and looked the other way. The citizens of Minnesota, and all of us, are demanding a full audit of every grant and every single appointment made under this regime. We want an end to the era of reckless spending and a return to the rule of law. We are at a crossroads. Are we going to let our institutions be hollowed out by this rot? Or are we going to demand transparency and integrity? The real power in this country doesn't belong to special interests or radical NGOs. It belongs to you. And it is high time we took that power back. The truth is coming to light, and this reckoning is just getting started. Stay vigilant. Ending.
This report is complete, but the fight is just beginning. Subscribe now to stand with us.